If you look at 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, people were spending $1.21 for every dollar they made. People were spending $1.27 for every dollar they made. You know why that was happening? Guess why it was happening?
Because they were using their homes as ATMs.
There it is.
The equity and refinances.
Yeah, what was happening in 2002 to 2006? The home prices were going up. The home prices were going up. Shit, people went in there, got credit lines, and went on vacation. Now they want to do a short sale. Go figure. Go figure. But you notice in 2012, he got the act together. They're like, oh, hold up. We got to go back to saving some money. And then you notice in 2012, going back to January, February, March, 87 cents. They started to spend 90 cents, 88 cents, and so forth. But, you know, we like stuff. Americans like stuff. All right, so if you look at this particular chart, what this chart talks about is, you know, who's paying attention to all this stuff, right? I'll tell you what the Wall Street is. Wall Street is paying attention to this, big time. Okay? You look at Goldman Sachs and Lehman Brothers, those guys are used to moving billions of dollars around. Billions. Not $100,000 or $5,000 commission on billions of dollars. So one of the things that they've done, all right, so when you look at the market that went down when Lehman Brothers went out, all these guys that went to Yale and Harvard and Princeton and all these major schools, we got together. They're like, look, we gotta do something here. So let's say me and Steve gets together, and then we create a little hedge fund, and then we get her involved. She puts up $1 million, he puts up $5 million. Next thing you got a $50 million fund. Guess what we're gonna go do with that fund? We're gonna go buy properties, right? So there's huge amounts of private funds that have been established to do exactly that. Is to go out and buy properties in our backyard. They're doing it. How come you guys aren't? Right? You guys should be doing the same thing. You got to think like a Goldman Sachs. You got to think like a CEO. You got to think like an entrepreneur, and you got to act like it. And you got to apply this information every single day. I don't go to the gym, but this is my gym. I wake up 5 o'clock in the morning. I see what's going on in Singapore. I see what's going on in China. I see what happened in Japan. I see what happened in Europe. I see how that's going to have a great impact on the U.S. and how the housing market. I look at these things. I look at it from a 5,000 view looking down, and I'm always trying to move and position myself. Steve, what year did you meet me? And I'm always growing and adapting and changing. Yeah. I didn't own Next Stage with Steve and I. He was actually my realtor. I bought the deals from him. He actually presented me a couple of deals. Yep. But the thing is, if you have the knowledge and you're able to position yourself, then you can be cutting edge. You can always be moving. That's what Muhammad Ali did. Muhammad Ali, that's my man. You got to move and shake. But this information right here, it says right here, okay, we found the culprit. The culprit was Wall Street. Wall Street was the culprit. Okay, 24 investment funds are being created to do what? To buy over 10,000 properties. Okay, there are at least 24 investment funds in the process of buying up single-family homes, a number of which are hoping to own as much as 10,000 homes around the country. It could be as many as a dozen public REITs. REITs are real estate investment trust groups, and that's what we're talking about. You could create a REIT, anybody could create a REIT. The actual REIT headquarters is right here at 1825 I Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. When the Chinese were in town about 6 months ago, guess where they went first? They went to 1825 I Street to create a $1 billion REIT to buy trophy products in the New York, D.C. metropolitan area. Okay? So this is happening in our backyard, and this is from CNN. Any questions? You ask questions anytime.
So, I have a question. So, do you have any thoughts about your connections and people that you're working with in developing our own REIT?
Well, if you got $1 million put to the table, yeah, we can talk.
But, you know, I don't think maybe not any one particular person may have that million, but the collective effort. I mean, I think that's how we have to start thinking.
Well, agreed. And I see you talking from a community perspective. And he makes a valid point. So if all of us here in this particular room wanted to establish a REIT, okay, and so everybody had a different amount. Let's say you put in 100,000, you put in 50,000, you put in 300,000. Well, each REIT would have a position. So his position on his amount will get a certain return. His position will get a certain return. But then you have a collective group of funds which will solely go out to buy properties within our criteria. So if we decide we're going to go after single-family homes that are split levels or at least 1,800 square feet with 2 bedrooms, 5, then that's an agreement that we agreed on based on our REIT that this is the type of trophies we're going to go after. As long as you get your 8% return or 9% return, whatever the goal is, yeah, we can create our own REIT.
The reason I say that because I've been doing some research also, and it seems like the mom and pop investor the next 2 or 3 years is going to be squeezed out because this is the trend that's going to be happening nationwide. All the hedge funds and the REITs are going to the banks and buying up blocks and blocks of property. And you know, you're not going to find these properties for the individual investor anymore in the next 3 or 4 years. This seems to be what the trend is.
This is exactly what's happening. BlackRock is a major company that just, actually just, I don't know if you know BlackRock. BlackRock just actually from Baltimore to Miami have launched a REIT to buy all A and B class properties. Okay? So BlackRock just got in. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you a slide. Warren Buffett just got in. Warren Buffett just opened up his own real estate company. I'm going to show you a slide on that. So all the major people are getting in now. All right, so if you think about years ago, Clint, what year was that when that California gold mine was?
1848.
1848. That's my research department. 1848, when they said, look, go to California and you'll be wealthy. Man, people took months to get there, and they found a nugget. The gold rush, how long did it last, Clint? 10 years?
7, 8 years.
7, 8 years. But people went hundreds of miles to get there on a horse.
They went from around the world.
There it is. What's your name?
Mike.
Mike. Thank you, sir.
Actually,
That's
they're
the
nice
backup
pictures
research
of
department.
ships abandoned in harbor in San Francisco where the crews got to the U.S., didn't unload, just went to shore and went off to the gold field.
But the people that made money are people like yourself, the people who sold picks and shovels. They're the ones who got rich. Levi Strauss as well.
I got one in the trunk. $3.99 today, man. I'll give it to you right now. I got one in the trunk.
Now, what's the difference between a hedge fund and a REIT?
Well, hedge funds are usually tend to be smaller. Okay, they're more like 3 or 4 people. He put in 25 million to create a hedge fund. A REIT will actually give you a dividend. A REIT's going to give you an actual dividend on either a monthly or a quarterly basis on your return, and you actually have a position in that equity. So if the REIT has $100 million of assets, let's say you got 4 hotels, but you actually have ownership in those hotels as well as getting a dividend on a monthly basis.
But a hedge fund is a collection of investors who invest in what they want to, right? they tend to go.
And they're a lot more
And a
flexible.
REIT is, yeah, a REIT's very tied to a particular strategy.
Exactly.
So that's-
And they have board of directors, and they got red tape and SEC and all that stuff. Hedge funds do too, but
And
REITs
you forgot
are-
the most important thing.
what's that?
Don't the people running the hedge fund not have to pay taxes on the money they get out of the hedge fund?
Ask Mitt Romney about that. No, I don't know.
No, I mean, all their money is tax-free.
Yeah.
That's how I understand it.
Well, I mean, there's ways to actually,
Okay, yes.
do that. You gotta have the right CPA, but I'm sure you can find ways. All right, so can I move on? You guys good?
Yes.
All right. Move. Move. Clay?
Try clicking the mouse on the slide. It's not in the presentation mode anymore. There you go.
All right, look. All right. This particular slide basically says, like I said, get off the fence. All right. With all this information that I'm providing you guys, I'm actually going to give you guys 3 free secrets. And these are real secrets that we all have access to, all of us. And we've had access to it since we was little kids. We just didn't use it right. And if we use it right, we can get an act together. Right? Okay, here we go. All right. Free secret number 1. Start where you are with what you have and what you already know. You will never know everything and get over your fears. So I'm going to read that again. Secret number 1. All right. Start where you are with what you have and what you know. You know a lot. But you will never know everything. I don't know everything. You will never know everything. But you guys got a lot of stuff. You guys got a mouth to talk. I was just talking to him early before the class started. I asked him, I said, you make any deals? He said, no. I said, why not? He said, I don't know. I said, you got a mouth. Why don't you talk to people? How many people you talk to? You got to talk to people. Let them know what you do. You let 100 people know, 200 people know, 300 people know, you're going to get some deals. The bottom line is, you guys arms, legs, eyes, ears. God has given you guys everything. I came to this country, I did not speak English. I did not write. I come from the mountains of Kashmir on the side of Pakistan. We had goats and sheep, and that's the way I lived. There were 7, 8 families lived like that when I got here. You know what was amazing to me? Was to go in a Safeway for the first time and see food. Aisles and aisles of food. I was like, holy shit. You can actually pick up an apple. And it was clean. You know, that's what wows me. You guys are born here. You guys have a social security number. You guys speak English. You have an education system. You guys are 30 miles ahead of me. 30 miles ahead of me. I didn't get my green card until I was 27 years old. So what I did jobs, construction jobs, cash jobs, cleaning gutters, working as a busboy, working as whatever I can to get cash. Because you could not work without a green card. So secret number 1, work with what you got. Even if you got $500 or $1,000, work with what you got. And make it work for you. And make it work today. Stop making excuses and get over your fears. Fears are man-made. We create our own fears. Right? All right, secret number 2.
So Sid, before you move on, I have a question for you. So would you say, as a part of that secret number 1, if you haven't done a deal yet, would your advice be to people, do whatever it takes, using whatever you have now to get that first deal done? and then go from there. Would you agree with
Exactly.
that?
Yeah. Because one of the things, you know, and I did this years ago, my first course that I bought in the 80s was Mr. Carlton Sheets. Midnight. You know, watching the TV, I'm like, shit, I gotta get in real estate. And here he comes. So I buy his course. What I do, I get it, I let it sit around, I listen to one seat, then I finally get to it, whatever, but I never went through the whole thing. Then I went and bought another course. Then I bought another course. We keep buying all these courses, but we never really go through them and really actually put into use what they offer and what they teach. So stop buying so much stuff. And take your money and go do a deal. Take that $500 and go and buy a banding sign or do a mail campaign or post letters or yellow letters. Use that money to go get some deals going on. Right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, see, okay, secret number 2, a pen. Gotta have a pen. All right, gotta have a pen. You gotta be able to write out the vision. Okay? Your dreams and your goals and your objectives. Okay? You gotta create a plan without misspelled word. Okay? And you gotta create your own blueprint. So, let me stop here. You know, the reason I bought these books in, you know what these books are? These are, I write everything down. Okay, these are just so, I got over maybe 5 boxes of books like this. Going back to the 80s. Okay? You gotta write stuff down. And what I do is, like this, you know, I'm always writing stuff down. This goes back to 2008. But you gotta be consistent with your dreams. You gotta be consistent with your goals. You gotta be consistent with your plan. Where I was in 2008 was in a different place, where I am now. But each one of these books has a sequence. I've been constantly building and been focused on where I want to be. And a simple pen and a paper, which I didn't have in Pakistan. Okay, I didn't have this. When they gave me this, the world opened up for me. Because I could draw, I could dream, I could create visions, I could create what I wanted to be. This right here is free. It's basically free. You don't need fancy business cards. You don't need fancy cars. You got to be able to think and allow yourself to dream and say, you know what, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. I did exercise with my wife last week. She, there's a house that she wants. And, big house. And she's been drawing out the extensions like the sunroom and the breakfast room and the 6-car garage and all this and all that. So I said, well, let's find where this model is. Let's actually find out where Mid-Atlantic Homes is building this particular model. So we looked it up online. We found it in Hunt Valley, Vienna, Virginia, Tyson's Corner area. Okay, it's huge. And we went out there, and I went through the whole house with her, and I recorded her as she was in the kitchen, as we went upstairs to the bedroom, as we went down to the basement and the theater room. I recorded the whole thing. Right? You got to actually see yourself there if you want it. You got to see yourself there if you want it. If you want a new BMW, go and test drive it. You got to see, that's why I went there. I went there to say, look, if this is what you want, anything is possible. But you got to see yourself there. She's been watching that video ever since I downloaded and gave it to her. But she now is already planning, oh, okay, well, I need a table this high, and I need stools here. And, you know, she's already planning, she's already decorating. But the things, dreams and visions are man-made. We can create whatever we want to create, as long as you got a pen and paper. I draw some bad pictures, but you know what? It works for me. Tasha told me she works over at the office. She can't read my writing. But I could break it down to her. You know, but this is what I do. I write everything down. And that's secret number 2. And the power of pen is amazing. And then what I do is I take a red pen, and then as I update my books, I go back and I say updated on December 13, 2013, and I update where it is now. So where it was, and I take a red pen and I say, okay, this is where it is now. Is it closed? Is it done? Is it still open? Do I got to follow up with somebody? You know, that kind of stuff. So I take a red pen to do that, and I take a highlighter and I just highlight it. So when I go through my books, if I see anything with the highlighter and red pen, and it says the word open, that means it still needs some sort of attention. And that's free, and it works for me, but you guys can try it too. All right. So secret number 3. Okay, you guys are building a brand. You guys are building a brand. Each one of you guys. Okay, so you got to act like a CEO because you are the CEO. And you have to develop an attitude and the confidence, and you got to be able to have an attitude of success. And it's got to be like a rock. I mean, people smell, even a dog can smell fear. He will bite your ass quick. But if you come at him straightforward, he's not going to mess with you. Right?
That's correct.
And then...
Let's see fear.
Huh?
Let's see fear.
So, but anyway, look, the bottom line is, man, you know, take charge of your lives, take charge of your time, and take charge of what you guys want to do. Okay? We all have the same amount of time, 24 hours in a day. All of us. It's how we spend our time is what matters. Right? How we spend our time. So, you know, create a brand, look at yourself as a CEO, and really act like it. I mean, you position yourself that way in your mind as well as your attitude. And then have the confidence. And then practice. I mean, Kobe Bryant, all these, you know, major players, they practice. They practice, they practice, they practice, they practice. And you got to practice it too. I only own 2 suits because I'm fat. All the other suits are small. But you know what? I don't care. Because people aren't looking at my suit, they're listening to what I'm saying. At least that's what I'm hoping. All right, so look, everybody knows Vince, okay? So the difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength and not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of will. A lack of will. Right? So, I mean, if you want it bad enough, you sacrifice certain things to make it happen. That's the bottom line. So I'm sure when we're going into 2013, people probably sat down and started to write down their plans and their goals in terms of what they would like to see happen in January, and February, and March, Q1, Q2, Q3. You know, go back and visit them. If you haven't started them, start them. And don't make your goals outrageous. You know, don't say I want to lose 80 pounds. But let's try with 2.
What?
Let's start losing 2 pounds at a time. 5 pounds at a time. You know, get the progress going, get the momentum going. But the 80 pounds will happen. You know, if you want to do 5 deals next year, right? Well, what are you doing today that's not working for you? Change your habits and do the 5 deals. That means reallocate your money. Stop, you know, wasting time and money in areas that's not doing you any good. But put it towards your business and build your brand. The number one thing all of us out here, what do we want? We want trust in people. You could go to Sears to buy a TV, you could go to Best Buy to buy a TV, but it's the trust. It's how Steve treats me when I go there. If he treats me like good, I'm going to buy a TV from him. If he treats me like shit, I'm not going to buy a TV from you. It's the trust. If I have trust in him, I'm going to buy the TV. So we have to learn to create trust. And we have to let people know that we know what we do and we're good at it. And they need to trust us to allow us to handle their opportunity. If they want us to sell their home, if they're looking to buy a home, if they're looking to invest in a home. Trust us. And that's how you build relationships, is through trust. And so, like Vince said, you gotta have the will to open your mouth and tell people what you do and how long you've been doing it and build the trust. All right. Now here's, everybody been looking for, like, okay, what do I do with all this knowledge, all this information? Now what? What do I do with this information? Where do I position myself? Where do I go put my money that's going to make it count? But right here, it states from this particular source, Market Watch 2012, marketwatch.com, the 10 best U.S. cities for real estate. The 10 best U.S. cities. Baltimore, Maryland. In our backyard. Right here. They're coming from California to buy stuff here. They're coming from New York to buy stuff here.
And Canada.
And Canada. Okay? This is in our backyard. It goes back to positioning yourself to get the wealth that you want. Knowledge is power. You just got to know how to use it. All right, so this particular slide, best place to buy in your backyard, voted number 4 on the Market Watch 10 best U.S. cities for real estate investors. Baltimore, Maryland. Investors should consider buying now for maximum gain on properties in this area. According to the report, at the left, this particular house, single-family home, north of Baltimore, was built in 1800s and has been renovated. The thing about Baltimore, you know, there is a lot of land and there's a lot of areas in Baltimore County that you could buy a huge home and sit on 5 acres or 3 acres or 7 acres of land. That's hard to find. A lot of these developers, new guys, they're building on 0.25, 0.38, 0.17 on land. So if you want a larger home, an older home, and want acreage, you got to go into some of these pockets of areas where you can get that. So right here, this is rated number 4. So it's about sending out postcards, newsletters, you know, writing people, calling people, and letting them know that you're here, you're in Baltimore. Reaching out to these people. Anybody knows Charles E. Smith?
Oh, wait, I have a question. I'm sorry, Sid, before you move on. At some point this morning, are you going to get into, because you already set the background and context for all the market information and how this region right now is a great market to invest in. Are you going to start to parse out whether the investment strategy should be fix and flip or buy and hold, you know, in DC versus Baltimore?
Sure.
It's good, because everybody will be able to get that information as well.
All right, good. Now this is Charles E. Smith. So you know Charles E. Smith's story?
Actually, I never knew his story, but I had a business in one of his properties for 15 years, so I'm familiar with the company.
Right, good. Because the guy, just like the Roslin brothers that built Roslin, the town of Roslin outside of Crystal City in Arlington where the Pentagon is. Charles E. Smith, you know, as the story says, he was a Russian immigrant who came to the U.S. in 1908. He spoke Yiddish. Like every other immigrant, he wanted his shot at the American dream. Started his first real estate in Brooklyn. He had a dream. He lost everything to the Great Depression that took place between 1929 and 1935. That was a setback. That was a roadblock that he ran into, but he didn't quit. He moved to Rockville, Maryland, and developed properties there, but he didn't quit. regardless of the Depression. He didn't quit. He founded the Charles E. Smith Company in 1946 and developed the Crystal City area of Arlington, Virginia. If you guys have been in Crystal City in Arlington, all those major buildings down there is because of this man. He had a vision. He had a goal. He had a purpose. And he didn't quit.